Finance Committee adjourned.
Call to order regularly scheduled meeting for Ironton City Council, April 10th, 2025. I invite everyone to rise and remain standing. I invite Deacon Hugh Scott, Mount Olive Missionary Baptist Church, to lead us in our invocation. Please remain standing for our pledge out.
Let's pray. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. I ask, Lord dear Father, that you be in the presence of this prayer. And I ask, Lord dear Father, that the harvest is ready, but the labors are few. I ask, Lord dear Father, that this administration, through the mayor, through the council, that you be with them, that you will lift them up, that they would have great vision to continue doing for others throughout this community. This is a temporary position, but this is the position that they have been chosen for. I ask that they give them, each one of them, strength, the vision to have a humbleness to themselves, as well as into this community, and knowing that the works that they will do will not be in vain. And Lord, dear Father, we look unto you for strength this day, because you're the creator of the heavens and earth and the seas and everything within. But most of all, this is the day the Lord has made, and let us rejoice and be glad in it. And we will not be amiss if we leave here this day, and knowing that this is a time of the year that we all need to look into the heavens, because this is a resurrection day. It's the day the Lord has made, and we should be glad, and we should humble ourselves. And knowing on the third day that you've given life to your Son once again, that we all should take time out, each family member, each council person, and thank God for our administration of this city, that we look into the heavens and which come with our help, and all of our help coming from the Lord. So be with us throughout this meeting, that we run from heart to heart and breast to breast. And we will get things done, Lord dear Father, for your will, but not our will. So continue looking into our hearts, that what we do, we'll be doing for others. Accept our prayer this day in the magnificent name of your Son, Jesus Christ. We all say together, amen.
Amen.
I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Brown. Here. Cleary.
Here.
Haney.
Here.
Harvey. Cox.
Here.
Klein.
Here.
Carey.
here. All right, if you would please read for approval of minutes from the regular scheduled meeting of March 13th, 2025.
You just say that on there.
Okay.
Everybody has a name.
Does anybody, okay. Does anybody have any corrections, modifications? Finance Committee meeting of March 13th, 2025. Anybody have any corrections, modifications? Minutes of regularly scheduled meeting, March 27th, 2025. Corrections, modifications. Minutes of strategic planning committee of March 27th, 2025. Anybody have any corrections, modifications? Next, we have invited guests, Jeremy Clay of LEDC.
Good evening again. Thank you all for having me. It's a great pleasure to speak for you today. Just a quick update about what's going on. Again, please note we can't get into specifics of the businesses or what their intents or who they are at this stage. That's not, again, what our agency does. Of course, the Gateway Center, we have one lot remaining there, and we do have someone interested in that property. We'll continue to work to mature that property and that transaction to see where it goes with the community. Again, you guys know that we've done tremendous work over 4 years for the environmental cleanup of Ironton Iron. And we got a new environmental covenant recorded and approved by the Ohio
Excuse me. Thank you. Sorry.
That's November of 24. And now, of course, with the mayor's assistance, we have a couple projects that we're developing there on that property, and hopefully we'll have some announcements in the future for that. Again, it won't be us who does the announcements, it's businesses will. And again, we can't speak enough of our partnership with the mayor to get those projects moving in the right direction. We do have 2 projects currently bidding in town. The asbestos of the Masonic Lodge and the asbestos removal of the U.S. Bank facilities. Again, for us to try to repurpose the U.S. Bank facility, it's part of our phase development of getting it into environmentally safe stage for redevelopment. Those projects are bidding. They should be awarded here hopefully by the end of the month, and those projects will take us all the way through the end of the year for completion. And another note too, of course, we worked hard. Again, the mayor's assistance is really important. Of course, Corby Leach from Ironton is going to be building a new Dairy Queen. We're glad to announce that today Corby set a date of April 25th at 11 o'clock for the groundbreaking. Again, we hope all of you will be able to attend and join us with that. Of course, Corby worked really hard and had some issues getting the site approved by DQ. There's 2 different models, and he is building the bigger model there on that property. And he has hired John Mullins of Mullins Construction to build the facility. So again, hopefully you can expect groundbreaking, sir. Any questions, sir?
Not for me, anybody?
What was the date again on the groundbreaking?
April 25th, sir.
Might take my youngest out of school to attend the groundbreaking. He's been asking about it forever. So thank you for that. Appreciate your
My
work.
pleasure, sir.
What time is it, Jeremy?
It's going to be at 11 o'clock.
Anybody else have any questions for Mr. Flynn?
Thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Next from the gallery is Rick Jensen from Ronay and Riverfront Updates.
Thank you. A couple of dates to be aware of is May 4th. The Ohio Riverway, the Ohio River Challenge people will be in town about 5 o'clock on that Sunday, and they'll be leaving the Fort of Ashland on the 5th, stopping in Ironton about 8:30 on the 5th and continuing on. October 9th through the 12th is the River Roots Festival in Cincinnati. It's beginning to kick off the America's 250. They're expecting about 750,000 people to attend this festival. That's when all the cruise ships will be in town that are cruising up and down the Ohio River and some of the other rivers in the country, and that's our opportunity to designate Ironton as a stopping point when these cruises go up and down past us and not stopping. So we're working hard trying to get our program together to encourage these river boat companies to spend a night twice a week in Ironton starting next summer. The Ronay, we're expecting construction to start next week. Actually, the contractor today asked if I would get permission from the city to close off the street, the sidewalk in front of the Ronay while they're doing their construction. They will be somehow getting an excavator inside the auditorium and busting up the concrete and hauling it out through the doors. I'm anxious to see how that's going to work, but they claim they can do it. So they will probably be starting early next week on that. They will not interfere if we decide to do a Wizard Fest again this fall. They will work around the schedule for that. We haven't really come to a decision yet. Every year we keep saying we're not doing it again. It's too much work, it's too hard. But after about 6 months, we start saying, hey, maybe we can do this again. So you'll see movement on the Ronay here very quickly. As far as the riverfront goes, I anticipate opening on weekends in mid-May and then being open full-time starting Memorial Day weekend throughout the rest of the summer. If you all have been down the riverfront lately, you'll see how much trash and woody debris got deposited again. It's the 3rd time this year we'll be cleaning it, and I hope it's the end of it. It's exhausting, but it's river life, I guess. So, to match that is through the solid waste district, we did get the crane barge that has a crane that'll go up to 48 feet in the air, and we can lift cars out of the water if we want to, but there's a little bit of discussion if you want to lift that kind of stuff out and bring up PCBs and everything else floating in water. Some of the stuff has been buried there for decades, and the environmental hazard might be worse than by pulling them off and just leaving them. So there's a lot of things happening on that side of it. I met with Kevin Wood last week. We're trying to get the final grading elevations. I've got material ready to go, but I just need to know a benchmark as to where we're setting everything. The rolls of weed barrier are now $325. They're 12 feet wide and 300 feet long, and it adds up in a hurry. So I don't want to be putting a bunch of stuff down and tearing it back up again. It's starting to become really costly, but within a month you should see it being open on weekends and then full blown Memorial Day weekend run. Any questions?
Two questions. Do you have tenants for those
We're working on
the buildings, the temporary buildings?
we're working on a couple of them. I'm not at liberty right now to say it, but they're pretty impressive if we're able to land a deal with them. So,
And what are your plans as far as advertising, kicking off the mid-May with
I haven't
to
really.
let people know that it's open? And
Facebook can be your best friend, it can be your worst friend. I want to make sure that we got these soft openings down, and I think, it'll take off quite quickly. I want to make sure we got a quality product and quality people in the process down before we invite everybody in and disappoint them. We want to make sure that we have our procedures down. But I'll be doing Facebook and radio.
Great. Anybody else? Chris?
Just an estimated time. I know this is kind of phased out for basically significant completion.
For significant completion, I'm still waiting for elevations from Arcadis, and I don't want to, Kevin is overwhelmed, but we need it. I think everybody's getting a little bit frustrated with what's the final plan looking like and when is construction going to start. It has to be done by the end of 26. And we're talking about the volleyball courts. I don't know where we're at with that. The children's play area. It's time to get this done.
I agree.
Yeah, that has to be done end of the year.
Okay.
I've got
I think we were waiting on the final plans because of the core. That's what's been holding things up, getting those permits.
And I know Kevin's been working. He's been meeting every time I
That's
ask him.
why we're kind of held up to the core right now, but they're trying to push things through because there are so many river projects but once we know the footprint of the construction that is going with the ACGP project, we'll know, all right, now we can put the courts in. If it's a matter we have to spend that money, right? Now, with volleyball courts, we'll probably have to put that in, but we could probably procure whatever else we need and be able to close that out. That's a matter of just a technical issue with ODNR.
Okay. So the landing area, I guess I'm gonna call it, will stay open during the process of the rest of this construction.
Yes,
Okay.
it has to.
Well, that's what I was saying. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, they're believing that, that's why we had the discussion on when the ODNR grant had to be taken care of, because the footprint of it is going to probably be in the way of, they're going to be bringing their vehicles through where we have a plant and stuff, so we need to make sure that we don't do that work until they're done going in and out.
Okay.
But some of the other things, like getting the elevation set for the road going and back the containers along the flood wall, we need to know that stuff. That's not going to interfere with anything. I want to get that open as quickly as possible.
Has the boat dock or boat ramp been finalized? I know that was a major.
I think that's what is that what you're talking about?
It's one of them, yes.
Yeah, that's what they're working on right now.
The last meeting I attended, that was the big, which way is it facing, what the elevation of it going to be, so we're still
we have to get a benchmark to place everything off of first, and we don't even have that established. And I'm not bad-mouthing Kevin or anybody. Everybody's trying, they're working hard, and all this work is now upon us and all these projects. And
Yeah, it's not even Kevin, it's really getting something the core will approve.
Thank you.
That's my understanding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just met with Gina Collinsworth and OVDRC people. The Ronay is short on the budget that they put together is not going to cover what we wanted, so her and her team are looking at finding additional funding to push the Ronay further down the road and get it farther completed than we have the money for. So all the money that we have is basically already committed, but they're trying to find additional pools to get this open. And I'm really pressing them to have it done by the first of the year, because we're still with the overhead every month and no revenue coming in, and it's not good for anybody. Thank you.
Thank you. I have one more question for you, sir.
Yep.
And just wondering if you've heard anything. I try to keep up with news as much as anybody. Have you heard anything that indicates any of the Appalachian relief grants potentially being in jeopardy through OMB scrutiny that might impact this? That's essentially what I'm asking.
Our projects are pretty well safe because they're in the 90%, 95% percentile of the completion. I think our local team is really good. Some of the other ones, you'd have to talk to Ralph and his team, because they're much further into it than I am. But in a kind of a way, we're kind of hoping one or two might fall off, and we have a little more money to do some stuff here. But I didn't say that. That's just a thought. I'm sorry.
This time I open the floor to audience participation. Please keep in mind that any comments need to be kept to 5 minutes or less.
Maureen Tussey, 1507 Karen Street. I missed the Kevin meeting that he had, but I did read through it today. And I'm just still wondering how a 6-inch drain is going to take care of this water that's laying clear down our driveways and our sidewalks. I watched them put the pipe in next to that drain piping in. I have a picture of it. The guy literally took a shovel and just beat the corrugated pipe. I don't even know if he connected it to the main thing, because they were waiting on the guy to come back, and I finally, after an hour, I left. I don't even know if they connected that drain pipe into a pipe, to be honest with you. So I'm continuing to say, I hope I'm wrong. I hope that I bit your ear for no reason, but I just don't have the faith that you have not put that water. You go down every one of those houses, and those sidewalks are nothing but water from where that water is laying. It's been moved from the street to us. And I'm going to continue to harp on that pictures if you want to look at it, but I still don't see how that 6-inch drain is going to do it. I don't see how that water in the middle of my driveway that's going to eventually tear up my driveway is going to go over here to a 6-inch drain that's ground level. And who's going to take care of keeping that clean? Did he mention that? I didn't see it in the report. And if it backs up and we get more water, who's going to take care of that? Did he mention that? I didn't see anything in the report. So those are things that I want to bring up that are concerns for me there. And I really feel sorry for you, Mr. Haney, because you're living in the middle of it right now, aren't you?
I've been for a year.
Yeah.
Would you pass that picture around?
Sure. You're there. And I actually circled where he went and jabbed the pipe in. You can see where he took his shovel and just jammed it. So, I'm looking for a guarantee that, this is after a year. What if we have another dry summer and then, we get rains like we did the other day? And that's actually after the rain. That's not even during. I've got video of the pouring rain where it's laying there and I'm sloshing through my front yard in the water because it's got nowhere to go. And it's not going to make it from my front yard over to a 6-inch drain. There's no way. It's not going to cross over to that drain, and that's where all my pipes are to my house. So I continue to bring that up. The other thing I'd like to bring up is there were signs that were taken down. We've got 8 little kids in that cul-de-sac. We had a sign that said it was a dead end. It's gone. I think we had a children at play. That sign is gone. Are those signs going to be put back up?
We can do that.
Also, as you're looking at those pictures, there's no grass. We got no grass seed from Columbia all the way down to Cairn. So when all that pouring rain comes, you can see it's nothing but brown water. We had mud water. We didn't just have water. We had mud water because there was no seed been put down. It's still mud at every one of those houses, unless you bought it yourself and put it down. It's nothing but mud. I also would like to know if the pump at the end of Orchard Street is going to be maintained after all this is over with.
Yeah, we have to.
Okay. Did you ever, I did talk to DOT and I'm waiting to hear back from the maintenance guy, but I understand that the Lawrence County soil people, I checked today, nobody has a right of way on my property that this water's running on. There's no right of way. And that concerns me. I'm taking all this water, and you should have seen it was out of the banks after this last rain. I've got a building there. You flooded me once. You didn't pay for anything. That won't happen again. But there's my concern because the pump, I guess I was told that the pump has to be at 50 feet before they do anything with it. But the water was, and I've got pictures of it, totally out of the bank.
Yeah, I'm not sure on that particular one.
So there's another concern that I have that, that was a lot more water than usual that ended up. So that water is getting directed now. Is that water getting directed behind my house now? That I need to be concerned about? I know it was a lot of water.
Yeah, as I say, it was a abnormal amount of rain.
I still got water flowing though.
We had to bring pumps and trucks down on most of Thomas. I mean, even it flooded all over the city.
Yeah, I heard like 9 people got flooded. I feel sorry for them.
Even outside of the low-lying areas, we had, it's just a lot on the system in general.
So do you have any idea when they're going to have grass seed or anything like that done?
I'm not aware.
Well, if you could check on the signs, I really think we do need a sign because of we have little kids. And with the cars so close now and they have to stay on the street, it's going to be dangerous down there. And I'm going to mention one more time, where I live in the cul-de-sac, you've put the curb so high, we will not be cutting that circle. The grass is this high now, and somebody jumped the curb, and so now you've got a big dent in it, the dirt's missing out of it. But somebody probably needs to put that on their grass cutting list because it's just going to sit there and grow. I can't get my rider up on it anymore. And I don't understand why you made that circle so big. You cannot get a truck. The UPS people, they've had to park down the street and walk down there. You can't get a truck with a trailer around it.
On the south end or the north end? South end?
South end.
The dead end there?
Yeah. I don't see why they didn't, because before we didn't have the curb and people just ran over the grass. Okay, they ran over the grass and still grew back, but now you can't even get around it. And like I said, we have a little boy down there that is handicapped. He gets fed through a feeding tube. They have a lot of deliveries at a couple places down there. So that's just another concern that I wanted to bring up.
Mayor.
I'll make sure that there's a pole. Is there a pole in the middle of that?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the only thing that I would think if it's protecting some type of utility easement. But it wouldn't be ours. Yeah. But I also don't like having to go one-off cutting grass either. So if there's a way that we can maybe do something about that, I'll check.
Can we just put some plastic down and put some river rock in there?
Well, the curb in general is also posing an issue. Is what it sounds
That
like.
curb's not going to last. Somebody's going to take that curb out. I'm just going to be up front with you. Somebody's going to take. Why can't you cut it down?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't
And
make the decision on
it's a good thing you mentioned that about the utility because now it's so dark down there because the street's black we need better lighting. It's really dark down there at night. That concrete really took out a lot of the light that was reflected. It's really dark down there now. And there again, I worry about those little kids. We have, they're 4, 5, 6 years old. They're out there trying to play ball. They don't play in the street because there's nowhere to play because there's bumper after bumper. And one more thing I would like to mention, is my time up?
It is, yeah.
Well, I'm going to mention it anyway.
Sorry, I don't know why.
You guys make a lot of ordinances, but today I came here and there was a car parked out in the handicap with no placard and it had a temporary tag. I don't know who owned it, but they did not have a handicap placard shown. I came in, I was here about 15 or 20 minutes, I went back out, they were still parked out there. I told them at the police station, I don't know if they actually ticketed the person or not, but why are you going to have them if you're not going to actually stick with what you said? I mean, I'm listening to all this stuff about having these rentals and all this. We got a rental right now. You talked about rats and the stuff in that backyard, and nobody does anything about it. We have complained about it. There's been things put online. Nothing was ever done about it. So I don't understand why you keep doing these ordinances, but you don't keep up with them. You don't do what you say you're going to do. Or that's just a comment that I wanted to make. Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Aaron Gustin, 607 South 6th Street. 3 topics. I'll be quick. I haven't started the timer yet. It's more of a race for me at this point. Number 1, I just wanted to thank the communications team at the city. The text message thread has been, I think, positive over the last couple of weeks. I usually come here and criticize, so I want to be positive. The communication has been great, announcing things like paving projects and the different things, reminding us that we have to pay our city taxes. All those things I think are positive, so appreciate the communication that went out on that. 2, as far as, and Councilman Brown, you may have to recuse yourself from this, but there's a tremendous amount of kids that pass along Liberty there from Ohio University over to, we'll just say, the gas station and the local restaurant. Is there a way to have a well-lit crosswalk there that's an activated crosswalk? We had dinner at the Shakery several times in the last couple of weeks, and there's been nothing but consistent scooters, kids passing back and forth, bicycles, on foot, with track and different things going on there. I'm certain this has been a problem in the past, especially with the city helping with the sidewalk improvement projects that's been happening. As a guy that has to ride my kids around town on bicycles, I appreciate the fact of being able to get in and out of the curb system. That's now a better process going to that end of town. But that main passage, I can't tell you how many times I come that way from work, how many times I have to stop to let kids pass through. There's not a crosswalk there, but I don't know if that's an option, how that happens, who suggests that, what process is for that, but if that's something that can be explored. I mean, it could definitely be a positive, especially for my kids who pass through there selfishly. Number 3 would be just an update on the nuisance property at 522 South 5th Street. At the last meeting, the solicitor gave an update and said that action would be taken once the 30-day limit expired on the notice that was given. Recently, again, I don't know what activities happened in that house, but recently my daughter and her friend was walking on that street. 4 adult males exited that house with book bags, came up Jefferson, past them. It was fine. I mean, there was no danger there. I was outside. That's just, that's a residential area that we'd like to protect as a residential area. Again, I'm not certain what they're doing in there, but I did have that exchange there. So I was just curious if we have an update either from the mayor or from the solicitor on.
Yeah, we talked a couple hours ago. We'll be working with the solicitors on next steps forward as far as the zoning issue. And then, as I was telling you, our plan is to do further investigation starting tomorrow, further field investigation on some of the sewer related things.
Okay.
So it's pretty close. I mean, to an action, but I don't really know how much we could say past.
We've been in communication with the attorneys for the owners.
Okay.
We'll restate our position on these. So
Yeah, I would say, I know we've communicated to them, I didn't think they had with us.
there hasn't been a violation issued yet, but I'd say it's forthcoming.
Okay, awesome. If there is a mo, yeah.
I'm just to clarify, I would suggest looking at ORC on bicycle laws. That was a big topic a couple
Yeah.
meetings ago.
Joe's Law, for sure, it's notorious. We're proud of that.
It's funny that you brought up the crosswalk that said I'll do this to protect traffic, because I actually suggested maybe we needed to today while I was in a meeting with You Won't Be Happy, Dairy Queen, looking at the same thing, and I'm sitting there going, yeah, I'd run into that issue and I'm crossing the Liberty and people are kind of like, man, we probably need something like that up there too, but that's a much different street, obviously.
Sure.
Where you've got more traffic and the traffic flows a little bit better, I think, since it's been the way it's been lately, so. I definitely brought that up today, so we probably need to do it down there too, because I can see this being just the same exact way.
Where would be a good place to put it at? Because, I mean, typically you
Well, you got a university too, which kind of helps.
Well, I mean, I get that, but what I'm saying is like typically they're from like there's an actual crosswalk there.
Yeah, like an
You know,
intersection.
corner
right?
to corner or whatever. I just, I mean, you can't go from like a sidewalk to
We
a
were
parking
discussing
lot.
something more of like a yielding
Yeah.
type.
Yeah.
Because it also like backs up there sometimes, you know.
Yeah.
Which that slows the traffic down, but like having some more awareness on like we could paint a crosswalk. I noticed it more so from that parking lot across the street coming to your front. And that's, you know, kind of what they're building a parking lot too, like across the street. So I'm sitting there saying this is a very similar situation where you're gonna have kids crossing the street, people driving through. So it's just stuff that we can bring that up. It's
Yeah,
just discussed.
Where I work, most of our offices are based near universities, just by happenstance. And so when I travel to those areas, it's very, very common. They'll have an elevated crosswalk, there's a hoop in the pavement, and it's pedestrian yield areas through there that's not at a designated intersection. It's a pure pedestrian pattern. It would be helpful if possible. So, all right, thank you for your time. Yeah, my apologies. I don't know what I did to the timer. It's not wasn't as so I'm sure that
In-free.
operator
In-free.
I can't read that. I've got my glasses on.
All right. I just take the opportunity to say something positive for once. I've got news, but it's been brought up already, but just for you all, if you hadn't seen already, that the 5th Street and Maple Street project is set to begin milling and paving next Tuesday. That is subject to change with weather and stuff, so we have, if you want to keep up to date, especially if you live on any of those impacted streets where you may need to move your car when they start the milling process, you can subscribe to our texting service at 91896.
At what, oh, hang on a second. 991.
91896. Text that number and text Ironton General, all capital, to opt in for more, up-to-date, real-time information on the project. But as of right now, it's slated to start Tuesday morning, and make sure the vehicles, if you live on that street, are not parked out front by 7 a.m.
I have a question about bus routes during that time. Will they be, buses run anywhere from?
Did they ask? Okay, because I'm not sure what they did last time.
I don't either.
No one asked last time, so I wasn't sure.
Maple, I would think, would be.
Maples would be pretty, yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, the 5th Street's heavily,
Yeah.
and this is gonna be 5th between Walnut and Neal Street. So if you see a ADA ramp at that intersection, that's where it's getting paved, because this is a federally funded paving project. So, it's come in around 680-some thousand, about what we paved 5 times with when we did just the driving lane. So just to put that in perspective, we have to by their guidelines, pave curb to curb and install all new ADA ramps at each intersection. And then obviously the Maple from 9th to Liberty or 11th as well.
So will,
But as far as the bus routes, I don't have an answer on.
will the streets be open like
One lane at a time.
after they're milled? Will you be able to drive on the raw streets? Or will they mill it, shut it, keep it shut down?
No. Remember last time we drove
Right,
Mill
yes.
Streets for.
So you'll be able to drive on?
Yeah.
Okay.
And luckily, this one is, well, not luckily, but it's only 10 blocks worth of paving being done, so it's not going to be too long of an inconvenience or turnaround, I wouldn't think.
Maple being two-way, are they gonna do one lane at a time? Close one mill paved, then?
Yeah, just like, that's how they did Second Street.
Okay.
Yes. And I apologize for upstairs, they are moving the old gym out of there right now, so. Not quick enough. But also something that to keep on the radar, and maybe if you guys want to provide some insight about tonight, we're on the South 3rd Street project yesterday on site because of they've discovered underneath all of the grass and while they've been digging to cut the trench lines for all of the new water line there, that there was existing curb at some point and a sidewalk.
Where?
On South 3rd Street going from Lorraine to Ice Creek. And which you won't like, the issue of this is we're going to need to put curb back now, making a change order to the project. Good news is we have contingency money that can cover it in the project that's built in, but I've asked for a updated quote to kind of give you guys more of a opportunity to strategically plan on the future of this. So the cheapest solution, which they had proposed originally, was put the curb in, fill everything back with dirt, grass all the way to the curb. It's just like it was pretty much. But if you're looking at further future plans of opportunities to put in a new trail or path or bike lane or something like that, we wouldn't want to cover it up and seed it. So there was an option provided that obviously I think putting in like a concrete sidewalk is cost prohibitive for us at this point, but an asphalt trail, and then it was like, well, how about 57 stones? That gives us the opportunity to make that decision later on. It will be more than the soil, obviously, but could potentially be, we don't have to go back and dig up all that dirt if you do want to do something. Because I know we've discussed things like this before, extending our trails through up to Coal Grove and stuff like that.
When's that decision need to be made?
Well, the good thing is it's on them now because they have to provide us a new cost estimate. So it was on yesterday, and I told them that wasn't going to happen. So, and I said I wanted to at least bring to you all the opportunity in case it is going to be more to make a strategic decision on what we want to do to position ourselves on that area.
Will they happen to be providing us cost estimates on like seeding it versus?
Yeah, that's what I
route
asked
versus, okay.
Yeah, because originally it was just to fill back, and because that's obviously the cheapest solution there. And it's honestly, it would be the same as the way it's operated. But yes, they'll provide us each opportunity if you want to wait and see the difference. Obviously, I'm sure the asphalt would be a bigger decision there, but if we put the stone in, I think, which is the alternate, not too much more expensive solution we can get out of this, then it gives the opportunity to leave it open to development, and it's also still serving. I mean, you can walk on the stone if you need to, and it'll be able to drain effectively still, which is the biggest issue at hand. We don't want water sitting. That's the whole reason we have to do the curb, because there's so many dips down there that you would have water sitting there, which would eventually cause problems for us in the future. Anything that you guys need from me while I'm up here?
That's what I was trying to think. I don't think so. I've asked you the bus question.
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that, right? Okay, yeah. I'm not
What's
gonna
the
stand
process,
here.
Mayor?
Then we have to go through to get the sidewalks closed off, so the construction guys can start this week.
Yeah, if you just, get with Mark on the permit.
Okay.
It's kind of, I would say, a similar process to getting like a dumpster designated in public way as well.
Okay.
I don't know which permit it's called, so just get with Mark.
Okay. I want to keep it shut or as open as long as possible, obviously, but when they're ready to start, we need to.
Moving on to communications, I see that there are none. Reports, also there are none. On to ordinances. Marta, if you would please read ordinance number 25-19.
Authorizing mayor to execute a contract for sale of property being parcel number 300641300 and declaring an emergency. First reading.
Make a motion to suspend the rules, give the ordinance 25-19, second and third reading by title only.
I'll second the motion.
Motion made by Councilman Haney, seconded by Councilman Cleary. Roll call, Marta.
Brown.
Aye.
Cleary.
Aye.
Hayden.
Aye.
Hawk.
Aye.
Klein.
Aye.
Harry. Authorizing mayor to execute a contract for sale of property being parcel number 300641300 and declaring an emergency. Second reading. Authorizing mayor to execute a contract for sale of property being parcel number 300641300 and declaring an emergency. Third reading.
Make a motion to adopt ordinance 25-19.
Chris.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Cleary, seconded by Councilman Haney. Roll call, Marta.
Brown.
Aye.
Cleary.
Aye.
Haney.
Aye.
Hawk.
Aye.
Klein.
Aye.
Harry.
Aye. Ordinance 25-19 is passed.
Been adopted.
Passed, then adopted. Moving on to ordinance 25-20. Marta, please.
Amending the permanent operating budget for the city of Ironton, state of Ohio for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2025 and declaring an emergency. First reading.
Chris.
Make a motion to suspend the rules and give ordinance 25-20, second and third reading by title only.
Nate. Discussion.
I'd like to make a motion to amend the ordinance, change line under operating expenses in Fund 13,005,005,000,0022 operating expenses from $25,000 to $51,000.
So motion by Nate, second
Second to amend the ordinance.
by Chris.
I'd also like to note the budget amendment received favorable recommendation from finance. We'll vote on the amendment.
Marta.
Brown.
Aye.
Cleary.
Aye.
Haney.
Aye.
Hawk.
Aye.
Klein.
Aye.
Harry.
Aye. Okay, so now that the ordinance has been amended, Councilman Haney.
Make a motion to give amended ordinance 25-20, second and third reading by title only.
Nate.
Second.
Councilman Haney made a motion to give second and third reading. Nate gave a second to that motion.
Brown.
Aye.
Cleary.
Aye.
Haney.
Aye.
Hawk.
Aye.
Klein.
Aye.
Harry.
Aye. Nate.
Second, third reading.
Okay. Marta.
Amending the permanent operating budget for the city of Ironton, state of Ohio for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2025 and declaring an emergency. Second reading. Amending the permanent operating budget for the city of Ironton, state of Ohio for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2025, and declaring an emergency. Third reading.
Nate,
Make a motion to adopt amended ordinance 2520.
Chris?
Second.
Motion made by Nate to adopt, seconded by Chris. Marta, if you would please.
Brown.
Aye.
Cleary.
Aye.
Hany.
Aye.
Hawk.
Aye.
Klein.
Aye.
Harry.
Aye. Moving on to resolutions, see if there are none. Miscellaneous?
Oh,
Oh, sorry.
yes, would like to go ahead and call another strategic planning committee meeting for April 24th at 5 p.m.
Council chambers.
in council chambers, yes.
Should I want to do 4:30?
Get it all over with. We may need it. Hopefully we're on the right track.
Nate, will you need a finance committee meeting that day too?
I'm not sure yet. If I do, I'll just call it.
More than likely.
Or like,
Would you like me to back up to 4:30?
no, I'll just call, whenever I call it, I'll call it immediately following.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Jacob.
I was just gonna remind him to
Okay, thank you.
call that, yeah.
I would, like to make a motion to call a very brief executive session regarding property, with council, solicitor, finance director, and mayor.
With no
We
action.
put no action on this.
It'll be real quick, no action.
No action will follow.
To discuss property.
Property, yes.
Second.
Roll call.
Yeah, roll call for the motion for executive session.
Brown.
Aye.
Cleary.
Aye.
Hany.
Aye.
Hawk.
Aye.
Klein. Harry.
One, last thing real quick on miscellaneous before we adjourn. Got a text.
Yeah.
I think-
Oh, yeah.
I think council had asked for some updates on recipients of the grant money that was offered to small businesses here in town. I did receive a text from Von Sennett, Lindsay Von Decade, School of Dance. She apologizes she was not able to appear in person today. She wanted to express her gratitude to the city of Ironton for the $4,000 grant that she received. Now the weather has gotten better. She was able to find a reliable contractor, Mr. Virgil Griffith, who will be replacing some of the pipes and newer larger water heater in the form of the city, Iron City Hardware. The cost would be $23,600. Work will start in the next week with an estimated fee of other materials and labor at around $1,650. So puts her out of pocket about $50 or maybe $100. So she wanted to give her gratitude to the city of Ironton for that. And the mayor, of course. Any other pieces of miscellaneous? Meeting adjourned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, thank you. I totally forgot.
We're going to executive session.
Yeah.
We're in executive session.
Yeah, we don't get.
We're entering
We already
executive session.
voted.
I gave the,
oh, you did.
we voted.
Yeah. We're entering executive session.
Okay, hearing executive.
No action followed.
Yeah, no action followed. Thank you, folks.